Welcome to Newton's Macabre Tales. To find more free short stories, visit www.newtonwebb.com with 2 B's. Terror from the Trash by Newton Webb. 13th of October, 2018. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. As the anonymous dolphin cleaved through the open waters, a gentle thudding sounded, as plastics, rubber shoes, and other such debris slapped against its hull. Intrepid wildlife presenter Gerald Patterson stood at the stern looking out at the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. This was no mere ecological disaster. This was a BAFTA. His assistant, a rather mousy-looking chap called Bob, appeared at his side. "They're ready for filming, sir." "Very good, Bob." He accepted the proffered script and flicked through it. "This is good. Very good indeed." Brushing past Bob, he swapped his all-weather jacket for his trademark corduroy blazer and life jacket. Stepping forward into the studio area, he took his position behind a desk with a beaker of rather grim-looking seawater. "On one, Gerald," his director Pamela said. 5, 4, 3, and then mouthed 2, 1. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Perhaps the most significant ecological disaster since the hole in the ozone layer. People always envisage it as a lake of solid plastic, but while such items do exist in abundance, the majority of it is more insidious. With a flourish, Gerald revealed his beaker. The seawater is turned into a soup by a dense concentration of microplastics. These cannot simply be trawled, as large objects could. "Cut!" Pamela gestured with her hand. Gerald stopped. "What the hell, Pam? Enunciation, flawless. Script, acceptable. Makeup, impeccable. Was it my hair? Bob, if my hair is unkempt, I'll see you living on the streets." Waiting patiently for him to run out of steam, Pamela calmly pointed behind him. "That floating trash island kind of ruins your monologue." "Right, we'll have to move the ship and try again." Eyes flaring, Gerald spun and flapped his mouth at the offending anomaly before cracking his jaw shut in frustration. An island of heaped plastic, nearly 50 foot square, calmly drifted behind him. "Unbelievable! Why haven't the tides broken it up?" he fumed. "It could be a capsized ship," Bob ventured. "What a notion! A 50-foot square ship? Nonsense, Bob. Get the dinghy ready. You must row me over immediately." He marched towards the boat. "What are you doing, Gerald?" Pam asked warily. Gerald pointed, stabbing with his fingers at the offending island. "There is a story over there, and I won't be denied it. Pam, I can smell it." From the deck, the island even looked like an upturned BAFTA. "We can all smell it, Gerald. It's rank. More to the point, it isn't safe. Send Bob over first." Pam looked over at Bob apologetically, in response to the reproachful look on his face. Gerald stood with his arms crossed, his face turning a delightful shade of gammon. "Fine, but I'm waiting on the boat. Get us some shots of us approaching it." The crane lowered their dinghy over the side of the anonymous dolphin. Bob powered the small craft over to the island, and urged on by an impatient Gerald, clambered up the side. "Well?" Gerald snapped, as Bob stood in the centre of the island. "It's solid enough. A bit slippery, though. Maybe it's a dead whale whose skin has been hardened by the sun." Bob pressed down with his leather shoe onto the inflexible floor. "A whale? A whale? You insufferable boob! It would have been torn asunder by scavengers, predators, and probably the Japanese." Gripping the side, Gerald started to climb up. "I'm coming up! God's the stench! Send the camera crew over with my beaker and my desk. We'll shoot the scene here." As the second dinghy was lowered into the water, Bob noticed the unoccupied craft drifting away. He dashed down and leapt, almost capsizing it. "Idiots!" Gerald ranted. "Hammer a piton in and secure the line. Why am I always having to do your job for you, you useless, gibbering half-wit? Bob muttered to himself, but acquiesced. The camera crew were just powering over, as the piton was being driven deep into the mass of garbage. Suddenly, the water seemed to boil. 4 giant flippers emerged, and an equally giant globe of a head rose out of the water. Its eyes were menacing, and solid black as it turned to face them. "Fuck!" Gerald cried as he leapt into the dinghy, almost sending Bob into the water. "Get us out of here, Bob!" Bob desperately turned on the engine and spun the small craft round to return to the anonymous dolphin, which is already powering up in the distance. Gerald waved his fist. "Pam! Damn your eyes, Pam! Don't you dare leave me!" The island had revealed itself to be the largest turtle Gerald had ever seen. "Arcturus gigante! It can't be. I believed it to be extinct." An enormous beak rose out of the water and swallowed the dinghy holding the camera crew. Gerald cried out with anguish. The scattered debris joined the rest of the great Pacific garbage patch. "I'm going to get you out of here, Gerald. Don't you worry, sir," Bob said valiantly, coaxing all the power he could get out of the engine. Gerald shook his head. "The camera crew, all of them, dead." "I know, sir. There was nothing we could do." His eyes watering, Gerald looked up. "All the footage is lost. All that irreplaceable footage." Bob was looking at him in disgust. "Don't judge me, you varlet. Get us to the ship. We may yet salvage this." Gerald looked over at the turtle. "It must have been confusing the plastic bags with jellyfish. All that eating and no nourishment. It must be starving." He shivered. The anonymous dolphin was picking up speed now. Pam threw a rope ladder over the side, and Gerald lunged for it. "Keep it steady, you blithering imbecile!" On his second attempt, he gripped it and began pulling himself up the side of the ship. The ladder rocked as Bob tried to ascend below, triggering a chorus of expletives from Gerald. As he clambered onto the deck, he saw Pam standing white-faced behind them. The powerful flippers churned the water as the approaching turtle slowly began to catch up. Bang! Everybody stumbled as it emerged under the ship and tried to capsize it. "Weapons!" Pam trilled. The captain patted a pistol at his side in an utterly impotent gesture. "What do you mean, weapons?" Gerald hollered angrily. "Nobody's going to harm my BAFTA!" Pam spun aghast. "What do you mean, your BAFTA? This was to be your last episode. The BBC is dismissing you for abusive behaviour." "Abusive? Nonsense! That's the problem with the weak liberal bureaucrats running this company. Their woke agenda is stifling creativity." He pointed to the giant turtle. "Why is nobody filming this? What is the first rule of journalism? Always be filming." Bob had wrapped several life jackets around a compressed gas canister. Tying the end to it, he tossed the bundle overboard. "Shoot the tank!" he ordered the captain. The captain spat on the deck and then, narrowing his eyes, aimed the pistol at the target being dragged behind them. "Do not shoot my BAFTA!" Gerald ran and grabbed for the gun. "I'll be untouchable when we return with footage of this. It might as well be the Kraken." As the gun to and froed between them, he shouted with rage, "David Attenborough can eat my hat!" The captain struggled. Before Bob leapt in, balling his fist, he struck Gerald straight across the jaw. Gerald staggered back. "Bob, why? Not my beautiful face." He sank to the ground. His eyes rolled into the back of his skull. A thunderous report sounded as the captain took his shot, followed by a cataclysmic explosion as the compressed gas erupted. The turtle retracted its flippers, withdrawing its head into its shell in a cloud of bubbles, and sank under the waves. The deafened crew watched in relief as the ship slowly powered away. Thank you for listening. To get notified every time a new episode is released, please click follow or subscribe and turn on all notifications. If you enjoyed this episode, then please take a moment to rate Newton's Macabre Tales. Reviewing allows the podcast to grow.